Hey guys, welcome back to the Hat House Hangout. And today I've been looking forward to this conversation for weeks. Finally got Brandt Tobler. He is a whatnot rising star, hat seller, comedian, New York Times bestseller, and podcast professional. It's a mouthful, but how do you introduce yourself now when you're out and about?
That's much better than I would do. I just say I'm Brandt. Nice to meet you. I'm a comedian is of course my regular job, but I don't really talk anything about Whatnot. A lot of people still don't know Whatnot, and then when I tell them, I actually don't talk. People used to always want to talk about comedy, and now and they still do. I get a million questions about being a comedian, but then when I explain selling hats on Whatnot, that they become just as fascinated as they usually are with stand up. So I'm sure, as you know, trying to explain it to people, they're like, "Wait, what happens?" And you just sell hats and people buy them, and you do it for 4 hours. And I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's tune in. It's easier to it'll be easier for you to watch it than me explain it."
For sure. Whenever somebody asks me what do I do for a living, I sell hats. Man, I just get this blank stare off into like, "Hey, you make a living doing what?" I mean, get a real job. I worked for Walmart for 20 years, and then I quit that gig and then do this one full time. But it's
That's
crazy trying to
awesome.
explain it
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
it goes.
Yeah, I
So
usually don't even bother with it.
when did you actually start one? I know I caught on to you a couple of months ago. When was like your first show?
I don't even know where I found it. Somehow I just stumbled upon Whatnot, and then I just started buying stuff. I would stay up till like 4 in the morning just buying stuff, and then, I think my first show was probably I think I've done probably 10, 11 shows maybe, so I just started getting all these hats, and I was like I just like the process of hats so much selling hats more because it's easy. I just hold it up, say you want it or you don't. Where I don't like doing measurement. I have a bunch of stuff in my basement here that's ready for other whatnot sales, but it takes like effort. And
Right.
what I like about the hats is it's like, hey, here's the hat. I showed it to you.
Yeah.
Either you like it or you don't. I don't. I've sold a couple other things online, and then they're like at the bottom of the collar on the left side. I was like, I didn't see that. And then they want to
Right.
complain. I'm like, hats and the hat community is so cool. So we just I did it the first time, and then I just kind of fell in love with it too. It's weird, like it's a lot like comedy. It's kind of like a show, but people always ask me if like comedy's not like a job because I love doing it. And weirdly enough, like I love doing my Monday shows now that it's not something I wouldn't even say I'm a hat sales. I mean, I sell a lot of hats, but it's just something I look forward to, which is really cool. And I would say most of that's just because the people on Whatnot have been we just have so much fun.
Yeah, I've done the selling side a few times myself. It's been a couple of years actually. Now I got into it when it first started, but my first show was crazy. How would you compare like your first show to like your first stand up? Was there any kind of comparison there to like
Uh,
did you bomb either one?
No, well, what's funny is the similar part was that I chickened out on both of them for a while because I knew I wanted to be a comedian, but I was scared to do stand up, so I chickened out for almost 2 years, and then I finally, just invited, like, 12 of my friends and had a couple beers, and I was like, "Alright, here we go." And then I
Right.
actually did good the first time because I was really prepared from chickening out. I'd practiced my set, and that was the same thing with Whatnot. I knew I wanted to do a show, and then I scheduled shows, and I didn't do them. And then I was after paying attention. I think a good advice I'd give people if they want to do Whatnot is watch the shows. So I kind of learned from other people's mistakes, and I saw what I enjoyed and what I didn't. So I was pretty ready to go when it was time to go. And then obviously being a comedian helped because I was like I bombed in front of 500 people. So if 12 people in the chat got stuck, I was like, and it wasn't like I didn't know the first time. I guess I didn't. And another similarity is I didn't know the first time if I'd love it or if I hated it. So I was kind of like, well, here it goes. And if it doesn't work, I'll never do this again. But then the opposite, then it worked, and then I couldn't wait to do it again. So weirdly enough, there was some similarities, but my comedian friends would kill me if I complained selling hats to 12 people to doing stand up. So it's not the exact same, but there's some similarities.
Right. And I'll say your show is what every buyer wants it to be. It's no BS. It's here's the item. Do you want it? No, you don't want it. Okay, let's go to the next item. Or you want it? Okay, let's run it. And
Yeah,
then it goes again and it goes again. And if somebody comes in asking for some crazy hat, you're like, no, I ain't got it. This is what I got. I got a
yeah.
Callaway hat. Do you want that? Eh,
Well, I just try to be loyal to, I don't like the entitlement or whatnot too, because like I have a pretty good crew that comes every week, and they're very loyal, and and if they want something, but I was explaining to my friends again, trying to explain it is like I run like 300 hats every Monday, and at about 1:45, some idiot will come in and be like, "Hey man, do you have a Pittsburgh Penguins off color size 7 1/4?" I'm like, "No, I'm not the mall. Go to the mall. Go to the mall and buy that.
yeah.
This is a show. We run it. I don't run it in your order. I run it for golf guys or my regulars. If they request something, then I'll go out of order. I mean, there isn't an order, but I just don't like how people come in and they're so entitled. Like, hey, I know you're running a show for 4 hours, but I want this and I want it right now. And then most of the time, if I have it, they don't even bid on it anyway. My loyal guys buy it anyway. So I'm like, man, get out of here. So
Uh,
another fun part about it is just the inside jokes that I have with the guys and girls that are there every week, where we where I can just say something so dumb, but if you're there all the time, oh, he's messing with them. So
right.
again, it's just so fun. They created a good thing at Whatnot, and then it also kind of polices itself. Like someone tried to troll last week, and we just gave them no attention, and they were gone. So it was like, I mean, I've dealt with hecklers. I'm not gonna your dumb comments in the chat aren't really gonna phase me.
Right. I always think of those guys that come in and they're wanting like a shark tooth or something crazy
Yeah,
like that. And I always think of that like that Dave Chappelle meme where like he's like cracked out with the
yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
got any of them shark tooths?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the car. Like, yeah, no, man.
I need some
Yeah,
shark tooths, man. Give me some shark
yeah.
tooth.
You're not the customer I want anyway. I deal with
Right.
more loyal guys that buy 20, 30 hats a week. So you coming in, I just that's the one part I don't like about Whatnot. And then the screaming, like I just put it up, and if you guys want it, you buy it. I don't need to. Don't get for this is so tough. This is tough. This is the toughest. This is so. I'm like, hey man, just here's a hat. If you like it, let's buy it. I don't need to lecture you about it. If you lose it for $1, come back next week. I'll probably have something similar.
Right.
And I don't have the energy to scream at people. I don't have it in me to try to get another dollar. It's like I just buy what you want. I get these hats so cheap anyway. It's like it's all profit, so I don't need to scream at people.
Right. So yeah, like the last show that I was in, you sold like 300 hats, and it was really impressive. So you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how long does it take you to actually source that many hats every week?
So yeah, I go to the bins have been such a great thing for me because there's three different bins or three different outlets here in Denver. So I just source. I mean, I source a little bit on Facebook, and weirdly enough, I should tell my friends more about it because then everybody has a box full of hats in their garage or something
Right.
that they're just going to throw away anyway. But I mostly source from the bins, so I would say at $1.69 a pound is what we pay here. My hats usually come to like 25 cents, about 30 cents a hat. So
Right.
even when I sell it for $3, I'm making $2. And again, I'm making good money doing it, but I mean, I was in it. I wanted to make money, but weirdly enough, I just really enjoy it. And I mean, this is just corny stuff that people tell you, like, if you love something, you'll do better at it. But I mean,
Right.
my
It's
shows have
true.
gone up every time. And a lot of that's too just learning. Early, I was just picking everything. And now so I pick through it, I get it, and then I go back. And now I kind of got a pretty good read on what people would want, and then I just try to get anything unique, anything different, because I know there's a lot of people running hat shows on Whatnot, and they're more worried about like the high end stuff. And sometimes, and what I've learned too is some of the unique stuff I pick up, I can't really figure out what it is at the bins, and then I'll get it home and it's like $150 hat.
Right.
But
You
then I
didn't
still
even
just
know it.
started at, and then I always start everything at $3. I think simple is better. So, somebody in the chat the other day was like, "That hat sells for like $140." I'm like, "Well, it sells for $3 right here. We just
Right.
keep it the same." And that's like a complaint I have with Whatnot is just too much downtime, and I just try to keep my show moving. So just
I
here it is.
totally agree.
If you want it or you don't, we don't need to. And then if you want to talk, or I can do both and kind of still have fun. But there's just too much. Sometimes I get on just half drunk, looking to buy, and then
Right.
I'm like, if you're not going to show anything for 45 minutes, I'll just go to sleep.
Right.
I think that if I give advice to Whatnot, get people just show and go, man, show and go, and maybe you won't get exactly what you want, but if you want to get retail, not retail, but if you want to get full price, do the work. And I sell on eBay and Depop too, but that's work. That's work. The beauty of Whatnot is you can be fairly lazy. I mean, the work is sending everything off, but if you want full price, you can get it. It just might take months. Where I have 300 hats sitting right here next to me, waiting for Monday, and then I have 300 hats in the other room waiting for the next Monday. So
Right.
we just go show and go, baby.
It seems like people get a little too caught up in trying to make that extra $5,
Yeah,
and really over if you just keep running stuff, your room will kind of build
yeah,
up,
yeah,
and all you need is 2 or 3 people that know what the hell you got, and it won't go too cheap, or it will
yeah,
go cheaper than eBay, but it's not gonna go for $3
yeah.
if 2 people know what you got.
Yeah, if I sold 300 hats on eBay, that would take me all year, and I average about $5 a hat. So I probably I don't after fees and everything, I get $4. So I would say I'd make around like $1,200 a week. Now, if I sold 300 hats on eBay and made $10, I'd make double my money, but it would take all year.
Right.
And then I
Yeah.
got to deal with I just don't. Which I've had, I've had to.
You were
Did I
breaking
cut
up
out?
just a little bit.
Oh, my bad. Am I
Is it you or
back?
me?
It's probably me. I'm down here in the basement. It's raining
Okay.
outside, so
Alright, you're back.
we back. Yeah, sorry. The
So
weather.
if you're on eBay, it's gonna take you quite a while to
Yeah,
sell
so
that
it's gonna
many.
take a lot longer on eBay. So, and I don't have a lot longer. Maybe I don't want to sell. I played pickleball every day for 6 months, and then I got tired of it and I quit. So
Right.
if I get tired of selling stuff in 6 months, then I just have a bunch of inventory sitting on on eBay. The beauty of
Yeah,
Whatnot is I could sell everything I got down here and be done in 48 hours.
right, and I have, like, 4,000 hats listed on eBay, so I'm kind of
Yeah, so
the
you know.
opposite. Yeah, I'm the opposite end of that spectrum, and I kinda wait on the extra $10,
Yeah.
but
But
Whatnot.
you're in it for the long run and you know what you're doing, and
Right,
I don't know a lot. I mean, I like that way's better probably, but you've also made this like your full-time job, and that's if I was doing it like that, I think you're doing if you have the long game, but I got to do shows, and like
right.
when I go on the road. So a lot of times I'll go on the road for a week, and then if I don't ship stuff out, then people throw a tantrum. So
Mm.
it's just,
Yeah.
you know, I,
Totally makes you can't kinda pause your eBay
yeah,
store every month,
I
to go out for
I
totally
started on
understandable.
I started doing eBay, and then I had a week of shows in Vegas, and of course, like I'd land in Vegas, and I think I sold 4 things, but I wasn't back in Vegas for 8. I mean, I wasn't back to Denver for 8 days. So then my inbox, some people were nice about it, but then some people are like, well, if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have bought it and all this. I'm just like, ugh, man, I'm selling this stuff to you for cheap anyway. Just leave me alone.
Don't you know who I am? I mean, really.
Yeah, you know I have stuff to do. I have
Yeah.
to tell these stupid jokes. I don't have time to ship your Patagonia to Ohio. Leave me alone.
Right. And that would probably be my exit strategy, though. I mean, Whatnot will always be my exit
Yeah,
strategy to get out. I mean, the 4,000 hats in my building outside. I mean, I would do exactly that. $3. You want it? No. At the end of the show, lot it all up. Here, you want all
yeah,
this? Yeah. And it's definitely the best way to move through that inventory quick.
yeah. I
And I
think
totally get it.
I think exit strategy is the perfect way to put it. If you want to get out of the business, and you'll still make money. I mean, you just won't make as much as you want, but I
Right.
mean, Whatnot's good. If I needed to like pay a phone bill tomorrow, I would be like, all right, let's sell. Here's a box. We got some hats. We got a trumpet, and what else is we got? Some kitchen utensils. We need $200. Let's go.
Just walk around your house.
Yeah,
Just anybody see some shit they want.
just live auction. Yeah.
Yeah. So what frustrates you the most about Whatnot is definitely the as a buyer is just the other sellers. What about
I
as a
mean,
seller?
as a seller, not again, I really like the community. The seller parts, once you get a hang of it, I will say it's a little intimidating, but if you're watching this and you're thinking about doing it, it gets really easy really fast. You worry about the shipping. I worried about all that stuff, but what I don't like again is just like the entitlement of people. I just don't like rude people. I just don't. You could come in and ask for something, but it's just the way you ask. I just don't like when you again, we're running shows for hours and these people that stay in there and then they get free shipping and then you develop a camaraderie with your friends. They become friends in there. I mean, I'm friends with it's weird to say I think I'm friends with 10 people. If they walked by me on the street, I would have no idea who they were if they didn't
Right.
have their handle on. So the only thing I don't like is just if you want something, go in there and like pause. If you see a pause and go when something finishes and go, hey, sometimes you're running an auction. I was running an auction the other day, like probably the hat I sold for the most, and some idiot in the middle just comes in and is like, hey, you got this or that. I'm like, do you see we're in the middle of this is like the best auction I had all day. So
Right.
that's the only complaint I have. Other than that, once you make it to the 1,000 sales and you get your money immediately is amazing. That's great. I think they've done a really good job. So, and then from a buyer's perspective, like I said, just don't bore, just show me something. You
Right.
don't have to be a stand-up comedian. Just keep the show moving. So I'll buy more. But if you just want to sit around and just don't just be like, hey, what do you want? What do you guys want? Any suggestions? What do you want? It's like I want to go to another room where they're
Right.
doing something.
I mean, half the world is introverts, and they don't want to tell you what they want. They want to be
Yeah,
shown what they want, and so just give it to them, and don't cater just to the extroverts asking. I
yeah.
think that happens too much, and
And again, I don't know what I want, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I know what I like, but now that I see you're a huge Sooners fan, let's say something cool Sooners pops up, I would just buy it and then maybe send it to you and be like, "Hey," like the beauty of Whatnot when it's done right is you don't know what's coming, or maybe a balance if they do the
yeah,
store, and then I can go through the store and see if there's something I like. But when I get on there, I'm there for the adventure of like what are we gonna see today? The same reason I love doing the bins. People like you like going to these dirty bins and fighting with the young kids and fighting with the Mexicans, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's the beauty of it is driving there. I never know what I'm gonna get, so there's that excitement, and then driving home, realizing that because every day the bins are so cheap, you'll always get something. So
right,
it's just a matter of how big it is. So like I had a big morning today, this morning, and got a bunch of cool stuff. And then it's just weird to come home and just think about, oh man, we got this and we got that, and well, what's this one gonna do? What's this coat gonna do? So I've become addicted to it, and I think the addiction is just the you never know what's gonna happen.
right. And I mean, what else could you? You go sit in a cubicle for 8
Oh
hours a day,
man,
or you can go dig through a bin for 3 hours
yeah.
and
I mean,
make.
I don't have anything to do. I mean, I do shows pretty much every night, but I don't do anything in the day. So I thought about doing Uber to get material, but I don't wanna do that, but so this is like it's kind of a good way for me to I haven't really incorporated the bins into my act yet, but there's a lot of downtime at the bins, so a lot of times I just sit and then I'll just have my phone working on jokes, and then I'll be like, "Alright, they're moving bins," and then I'll go see what I can get, and then I sit back down, so it's good for me as somebody who just doesn't have anything to do in the day, so it's become was a hobby, and now, I mean, it's not a job,
Right.
again, it's pretty fun.
You said you wouldn't recognize anybody if you ran into them, but did you see what Whatnot put out today?
No.
you can pick up items now. You can offer pickup for your items.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so you can they can just come over to your house
Hey,
and pick
that's
it
fine with
up.
me. Well, I deal with that on Facebook Marketplace, and it's
Oh
always
yeah,
weird. It's like and then
it's
sometimes
terrible.
girls are like, "Well, I don't know if I feel safe." I'm like, "I don't know if I want you to know where my house is at." I mean,
Right.
like, I'm not gonna kill you for this Avalanche jersey. Like, I'm like, what? If you think you're gonna get killed again, go to the mall.
Right.
I'm the nicest guy in the world, but if I had a girlfriend or something, she probably wouldn't like the foot traffic. But I mean, I sell a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace at a much higher price, and but then you have to deal with people, and then you just have to deal with flakes. Another good part of Whatnot is it's sold. Once I
Yep.
put it up and it in 10 seconds is over, that's done. I mean, I spend half my time answering Facebook Market. Is this available? Yes. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And they
You're
never
not
show up.
coming.
I'm like, if you, I keep an hour of my day open where I'm going to be here sorting through what I got at the bins in the morning and eat my lunch. And if you show up in that hour, you get it at the good deal. And if you don't, I'm not, I mean, I don't care that much. Again, I'll just do like you do and put it online and ship it away and never have to deal with anything. I'll tell you the one
Right.
thing about Whatnot that's weird is I think my post office hates me though.
Right. Every Tuesday you walk in there.
Yeah, or I'll say that you know what I don't. I think maybe my post office likes me, but the people, the customers of the post office hate it because there's always. I go to this little post office by my house, so there's always a line of like 20 people, and then I make 7 trips with
Right.
28 boxes every Tuesday, and I just walk by them all, and then they're not moving, and I'm, excuse me, and I just, I think they're
Right.
just like, what's this idiot doing, and why didn't I just print my label at home? But I
Right.
was worried about that at first, just because I don't because like I said, I wrote a book and but I didn't really know what I was doing shipping wise. So then I would package them all up and then I'd go to the counter. So, I'd sell like 50 books a day when I first wrote the book. And then people behind me, I could just feel them just staring at the back of my head
You
like, this
dude,
jerk.
you were the guy sitting there printing out 50 labels at the counter?
Yeah, I'm bad. I know. I'm sorry. It's a worldwide apology. But I didn't know the game, man.
Right.
And
But I
so I didn't know the game, so I'm finishing another book, and I'll be much better. But yeah, I just I grew up in Wyoming, and I just am proud of. I think well, it could be anywhere, but where I'm from, everybody's just very considerate of other people. I try to be considerate of other people. So
yeah.
I know some people be like, "Well, it's your book, it's the post office," but I had to get them out. But I just don't want to ruin other people's day.
Right. Well, I use the scan sheet thing, and I usually have people that we'll have 3 bags sitting in line,
Uh-huh.
and they'll give me the look, and every once in a while somebody will say something and like, "Oh wow, that's going to take a while" or something like that. And I always say, dude, the stamp people are going to take twice as long as
Yeah,
me. You
yeah.
should be happy that I'm not going to dig through these stamps and try to pick out the flower, the state flower or whatever.
Yeah, that's yeah, I've been behind them. It's like
Yeah.
they're like, "You want stamps?" And then there's like, "Oh, which one?" I'm like, "I'll just give them the top one, man. Like, what? Give them what we have the most of. They don't know. Who cares about it?"
Yeah. So what is the new book? Your last book was Free Roll, right?
Yeah. So free roll was just about my life, just a memoir about my life. Just a short version. I grew up in a small town in Wyoming. Then my dad was in prison the whole time I was a kid. And then when he got out, I moved to Las Vegas to reconnect with him. And then I got a job working for like the biggest professional gamblers in the world. So I was a runner. My job was a runner. So I just carry hundreds of thousands of dollars every day and run up and down the strip betting on sports. And then my dad stole 80,000, and then we tried to kill my dad. A lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
crazy stuff happened in this wonderful book. To reach, if you want to buy a book,
Yeah.
shoot my Instagram or it's on Amazon everywhere, and it's on the audio version is the best because I read it, but they're also making it into a movie. So if you can't read, the movie will be out. And the
The
next
movie will
book
be
is
titled Free Roll or
no, I don't know what
no?
they're. I We're just in the process of selling the rights, and I won't act in it or anything. I
Right.
just they'll do all that, and they'll probably change it a lot from the book. But
Right.
the
I've
book
heard
is
the stand up. I
oh
guess it's like
the
your
Comedy
most
Central
viral
version.
from
Yeah, yeah.
Comedy Central. Yeah, and that's kind of the story about your
Yeah,
dad
so
that
that's a
everybody
very, very short version, but you can go get a tease of it if you go to my YouTube channel and just put Brandt Tobler Comedy Central presents. but yeah, so that one, and then the next one is it's a little different. It's called You Couldn't and You Wouldn't, and it's 10 girls that I've had sex with that most dudes couldn't, and then 10 girls I've had sex with that most dudes wouldn't. So it's porn stars and billionaires' daughters and Costa Rican hookers and fat chicks, and so it's a pretty funny book because it doesn't just show the glamorous side, it shows the bad I mean, it's a real, being on the road for 20 years and also being in Vegas carrying $100,000, I was able to get myself into some interesting situations. So it'll be a pretty funny book about just some wild times. So I had a fiance, so I couldn't put it out because I think it would have ruined our relationship. But then she cheated on me and ruined our relationship. So the book's coming out.
That's
And it's full of some wild stories, so I don't wanna get your YouTube channel censored, but, it'll be a good book, you'll like it.
it sounds like it. So I do want to. I have to ask. So, like, as far as comedians, who is the funniest person to hang out with outside of not
Ooh,
on stage? So, like, if you're just hanging out with somebody, who's the funniest guy that ever hung
ooh,
out with?
that's a great question, man. That's a great question because I thought you were gonna ask who's the funniest.
Right.
Um, you know,
There's a
most of
difference between on stage
yeah,
and
for
just like
sure.
hanging out with somebody.
Uh, man, it's hard to say. You know who ooh, that's a good question. Like, Tom Segura is really I really like being around Tom, and Bert's I mean, Bert's the most fun probably just because it always comes with a party. I wouldn't say he's the funniest. I mean, he's funny, don't get me wrong, but he'd be the most fun, but, like, I opened for Tom a couple months ago, and just me and him I thought he'd have the whole entourage and everybody with him, like, his team, and it was just me and him and Aspen, and we were just walking around, and he just makes me laugh, and we'd go to dinner. He's great. Um, funny, I mean, a generic answer is all the best comedians are also the funniest off stage. The only exception would be like David Tell. Well, you know what? I take that back because like David Tell is one of my favorite comedians. Neil Brennan's one of my favorite comedians, and they are both just not very fun off stage. They just they don't, they just don't have the hang. So I tell you
Right.
who's the most fun is like the guys you started with the guys I started with in Vegas. So those guys that have been through the trenches with me, I've been doing this 20 years. So the most fun is just the guys, my guys that I've been around the longest that have been through it.
Right.
Those guys are my favorite. All the guys I started with in Vegas.
So where are your upcoming shows?
So this week, well, I'm in Denver now. So I have a few shows in Denver this week, and then I go to Laughlin, Nevada, and then I go to where's next? I go to Laughlin, and then I go to Vegas and to Phoenix, and then I'll do a couple weeks in LA. I'm starting to book the fall. I'm kind of taking the summer off. I'm going to Costa Rica for a little bit, and then I'm going to Jackson Hole, and just I spend most of the summer just kind of chilling because it's hard. Comedy's hard in the summer because it's beautiful outside, and when it's still nice out, you don't want it for comedy. You need darkness and night and everything. So I kind of just chill in the summer. So like I said, I'm gonna go to Mexico, go to Costa Rica, and just kind of work on this book and just lay around the beach. So, but all my tour dates will be. I post most stuff on Instagram. I do a little stuff on my website, but most
Right.
everything will go through Instagram. And then in the fall, the book, hoping the book will come out in September. So then I'll do all the big podcasts and then probably book a tour. I'll try to do all the big podcasts in like October and then go on tour November, December, go November through probably next March.
Right. So were we looking at a whatnot hiatus too for a
No,
minute?
no, no. What's weirdly is I was
Yeah.
just going to say that is most road weekends are um, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So even with Laughlin, I booked Laughlin and I'm doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then I got an early flight Monday morning to make sure I'd be back for my Monday show. And the
Right.
same with Costa Rica. I'm flying out Tuesday night so I could do my Monday show and then package and make sure everything's shipped off Tuesday, and then I'll fly back late Sunday night and do the show. So
Right.
it's too much fun to miss. I really I really enjoy it. So and it's made it easy to just kind of make my whatnot money my vacation money. So it's funny when show ends sometimes I'm like, dang, It's gonna be a lot of fun in Costa Rica with this week's hat money.
so, so
Might be
I'm
another
sure.
book.
Yeah, your next show is going to be huge. Everybody is going to be donating to the Costa Rica fund, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll have some good stories when I come back for you guys for sure.
For sure. All right, Brant. Is this the best place to get a hold of you on Instagram
Yeah,
and on YouTube?
yeah. Instagram's easiest. Just hit me in the DMs if you want to buy a book. Just slide in the DMs. I'll send it to you. I'll autograph it. I mean, you can buy it from Amazon or everywhere, but then I get like $4 and they got plenty of money. So just buy it from
Right.
me. I'll go to the post office. I'll print the label at my house and I'll ship it off. And then I got a bunch of my stand ups on YouTube and a bunch of clips are on Instagram. And then I think the new special will come out next Friday or this Friday, hopefully. I have a new special coming out called Suits and Stories where I did 5 different stories in 5 different suits. So they're pretty wild stories. So just check that out and then come to the show on Monday. Let me sell you some hats. I'll
All
give you some
right.
hats.
We'll definitely be there. I really appreciate you taking the
Oh, of
time to
course,
hang out
man.
with me,
Thank you for
man.
having me on. Thank you so much for having me on. It's very cool.
All right. We'll see you again soon.
See you, bud.